And we're live. Welcome, everybody, here to the Lakers Lowdown Podcast. I'm Anthony Irwin, Lakers insider for Lakers Daily. Today on the show, Dan Hurley decided to stay at UConn, leaving the Lakers in a really tough spot. We have to talk about what happened there, the offer, the decision, and now the indecision that the Lakers are dealing with as they embark on what feels like a brand new search for a head coach. Let's talk about it. So the big news, obviously, we were told that Dan Hurley was going to make his decision on Monday. I wore this here tinfoil hat last time you guys heard from me, and while I was wearing it, thought that maybe I took him going back to UConn to mean that he was probably going to go there and have his Leonardo DiCaprio "I'm not fucking leaving" moment. Wound up being correct. I'll say this: overnight and into the morning, I had spoken to a few people, like a handful of people, and nobody thought he was going to the Lakers. Most people thought the situation was pointing in the direction where he was probably going to stay at UConn, but nobody was saying it definitively enough that we could operate off of it. Just about everybody was in the dark. And actually, as of this morning, when I checked in on it, the Lakers were also in the dark. They thought that they had made a compelling offer. They thought that they had, they felt confident about the meetings that they had with Dan Hurley over the weekend. And apparently, as of this morning, we're waiting just like the rest of us for what Dan's final decision was going to be. I would imagine they found out a little bit before us, and as kind of as a gesture of goodwill from Dan to the Lakers, he probably told them before or around the time that he told his team, and certainly I think before it became public information that he was going to be staying at UConn. But I was told as of this morning, this being was today Monday. As of Monday morning, as everybody else was waiting for Dan Hurley to make his announcement or make his decision, the Lakers were also waiting for that decision, which when I was told that didn't feel like good news. I'm going to be honest. Again, I didn't have enough to report on it. I didn't want to overextend myself. I just didn't have the information to be able to run with it. But the momentum was certainly moving in a direction where it looked like Hurley was going to stay. And that winds up being the outcome of all of this. And we have to talk about Rob Pelinka. We have to talk about Jeanie Buss. We have to talk about the Lakers kind of aura and where it kind of stands right now. That sheen, excuse me. Gosh darn it. That sheen feels kind of painted on right now, right? I've called the Lakers gold-plated in the past, and I think a lot of those points still remain prescient. Like I know Lakers fans think I hate the Lakers. I really don't. I legitimately don't. I have been pulling for Jeanie Buss. I have been pulling for Rob Pelinka because it means that my favorite basketball team would have good things happening for them. But that's just not how it's played out. And I just like when I can only offer up the information that I have in front of me. And right now, the information that I have in front of me, and just for like the majority of my time reporting on these Lakers, like the information just hasn't been good. And today was kind of the end result of just things are not where they need to be with the Lakers. But before we get to more of that stuff, it was, I want to play the clip of Adrian Wojnarowski, at least a little bit of it, his summary of how things played out between Dan Hurley and the Lakers this morning. This is via ESPN.
Woj, what can you tell us about how this all came to be?
Shay, Dan Hurley just informed his players, his administration, that he's turned down the Lakers job. He's going to remain at UConn, chase a third straight national championship. I'm told he was offered a 6-year deal worth $70 million. That would have put him among the top 6 highest paid coaches in the NBA. The Lakers were relentless in their pursuit of Hurley, but ultimately his opportunity to make history at UConn, to win a third straight title, to do that for the first time potentially since the John Wooden UCLA teams, was too much to walk away from at UConn. Obviously back.
So the offer, I want to start with the offer. John Fanta, I'm guessing he pronounces it Fanta. He doesn't look like somebody who pronounces it Fanta. John Fanta of Fox Sports reported that Dan Hurley, that the Lakers, I think his report was that the Lakers had an offer for Dan Hurley upwards of $100 million. I saw that report, reached out to my Lakers people and asked them, I said, like, that's a really high number. How confident are you that the Lakers are actually going to make that kind of an offer? Because that felt like Dan Hurley was, in his camp, was leaking that information as like an expectation to the Lakers. This is what it's going to take to get me out of UConn. It's going to take a 9-figure offer. It's going to take almost a decade's worth of years on that contract. It's going to have to take a Godfather offer to get me away from UConn. And as Woj says, the opportunity to three-peat. Again, like we keep on hearing that Dan Hurley's wife wants to remain and has always wanted to remain on the East Coast. Same with Dan Hurley's father. And you hear all of those factors, and you knew that if the Lakers really wanted to go and get Hurley and get their guy, it was going to have to take a gigantic number. And that's how Woj has framed it this entire time, is that the Lakers were getting ready to prepare that kind of Godfather offer. And don't get me wrong, like, paying a coach $11 million, the Lakers haven't done that since Phil Jackson. Like, that is still significantly higher than they have paid, basically more than double what they have paid to either of their previous couple head coaches. So, like, the Lakers think that was a compelling and a competitive offer. It's just that, like, given the situation, if you really, really, really want to get this guy away from UConn and all of the things that he has going for him there at UConn, you have to pay him like more than Monty Williams. Monty Williams makes about $13 million per. This would have paid Hurley a little bit over $11 million per. And again, like, I think Hurley wanted to get to that like 8-ish year mark that would have paid him at 9-figure mark. And that's what it would have taken to get him out of there. And that's why I was kind of surprised when I saw Woj's report on that offer, because I had been told that, like, yeah, the Lakers were prepared to go that high. Not that they definitely were. I had never gotten my hands on, until this morning, on the actual offer that was made. Dan Wojcicki also confirmed that was the offer. I had been told, and now, like, I had also been told as recently as like last night that the Lakers were, going to sit. If it doesn't get to 8 years on the contract that gets you to $100 million total on the deal, that the Lakers would be in that 5 or 6 year range, but still in that 12 maybe $13 million range per year. This came in below that. And it really kind of surprised me. I'm not kidding. Like as I always say, I will offer you up whatever information that I have, so long as I have it confidently. I didn't have the specifics on the offer that they definitely made. I had just been told that they were confident that they could make that kind of a Godfather offer. Turns out they didn't. And I know lowball is a weighted term, because it's hard to say that they lowballed a coach who would have been a rookie head coach in the NBA, and making him a top 5 or 6 highest paid coach in the league. It's kind of hard to call that in a vacuum lowballing him as an offer. But given the situation, I also don't necessarily know what other term to use for it. You knew that you were up against it. You had to convince the guy to leave his current situation. And you always wind up having, like, anytime you're asking somebody to leave somewhere that they have like real roots in, you have to pay to uproot that person. It's going to have to take a bigger offer to get that person away from there than that person feels that they could get from their current situation. And I don't think that the Lakers went as far as I think they could have and certainly should have, right? They didn't get the guy in making that offer. And I was pretty honestly like disappointed by the offer that the Lakers made. And now, let's talk about their current situation where, the graphic here says, are the Lakers screwed? Hard to feel like they aren't. So the Lakers right now are trying to kind of rebound and regroup. They were hit hard by this decision, I'm told. Again, they thought that they had a real chance. They thought, they had confidence in their ability to potentially get Hurley away from UConn. It actually strikes me very similar to the vibes around the organization after Kawhi Leonard spurned them and went to the Clippers. But the Lakers right now, like, I know a lot of people, the natural instinct is, well, they seem to like JJ as recently as like a week or so ago. Can you just pick that? Can you just pick up the conversation from there? I'm told, gosh darn it. I'm told it's not that simple. That essentially Redick has, I guess the term that was used today in conversations that I've had, he's kind of cooled on the Lakers during this whole process. And I'm told that the Lakers also have kind of cooled on Redick during this process. I think there was some frustration there with the Lakers having to wait until after the finals for Redick. Based on some of the conversations I've had, the Lakers felt like you could at least come to some kind of an agreement. You could still focus on the finals, but we would like to have this done so we can move forward with other business. That not being really an option kind of tweaked the Lakers a little bit. And then from Redick's perspective, he thought he was in the driver's seat on this thing, only to find out that the Lakers were going out and pursuing Hurley really hard. I don't know if I would go so far as to say that he feels lied to, because of the situation and how it's played out to this point. But now, he does have an ego to him, and he does have negotiating power here. He has the leverage. They need him, I think, more than he needs them. He could just return back to the finals, to calling the finals and being seen as one of the kind of foremost voices in the basketball media industry. He makes upwards of, millions of bucks from ESPN. He probably brings in more millions of dollars from his podcast and the YouTube page that they have there as well. So he's fine without the Lakers. And he'll also eventually get another offer from somebody else. So he needs the Lakers a lot less than the Lakers seem to need him. That isn't to say that he's going to go and say, like, well, the offer that you just made to Hurley, I'm expecting that. he could try. I don't think the Lakers would match it. And look, like these things are always changing. They're always evolving. As I'm told right now, it doesn't seem like Redick is really an option, but that could obviously very quickly change depending on how the Lakers reapproach, picking up those conversations with him. So if it isn't JJ, then like you're gonna make Borrego Frank Vogel all over again. I do know that like Anthony Davis has vouched for Borrego. It isn't super duper strong. It's not like he's like adamant it has to be Borrego or else I'm going to be pissed. It hasn't gone that far, but he is voiced his preference there, and I think Borrego has his support. Beyond that, though, it's like you pick up conversations with Sam Cassell again. Do you bring Kenny Atkinson back for another interview? Do you resume talks with, say, David Adelman or Mike Nori, who to this point haven't been taken particularly seriously? All of these candidates, by the way, are looking at the Lakers like, what are you guys doing? And that to me feels like one of the bigger takeaways here is the rest of the league is kind of looking at the Lakers like, what the fuck is going on over there? Like I've been told today, I have it written for Lakers Daily. I was talking to a source today who says that the Lakers job just isn't a very good job. And I know that, like, I've always said that, there are Lakers sources and there are league sources, and there is a very divergent stance on in both of those groups of people and those voices or whatever. But it's hard not to like agree, at least to a certain extent, about the Lakers job. The Lakers lowballed Ty Lue. Dan Hurley, today didn't take that offer. I think the Lakers, again, like, I don't know if I would use lowball as the term, but it's lowball adjacent what the offer that they made to Dan Hurley. We saw how they treated Frank Vogel, where he, like, coming off of a win against the Utah Jazz, it was reported that if he didn't win that game, he would have been fired the next day. And then that season ends, and 5 minutes after it ends, he gets fired. He has to answer questions about his firing in his own postseason presser. That was insane. You had Darvin Ham go to the Western Conference Finals, win more games in the following year than he won the prior year, and get fired nonetheless. And once again, just like with Frank Vogel, that season ended, and it wasn't like it was some mystery what was going to happen to Darvin Ham. Everybody knew Darvin was going to get fired. And everybody basically that you talk to about the Lakers job feels like you take that job and maybe it works out for like a year or two, but you're only one down stretch or one unfortunate run from being scapegoated so that Rob can keep his job. The other part of this too is that the Lakers don't provide like standard resources to coaches that they actually do hire. There are rumors out there. There are conversations out there that the Lakers don't like paying assistant coaches a whole bunch. They still haven't had a shooting coach in forever. Their analytics department is below league average. Their video department, like there was a video that Access Sportsnet put of the guys, cutting film, and they're all basically operating in a broom cupboard. And that's on the Lakers' own feed, their own corporate partners' feed. So, like, I like no coach out there, or the coaches that you talk to out there about the job, and potentially taking it with the Lakers, their reputation, the Lakers' reputation, is in the dirt, and then on top of it, you have a skeleton crew in the front office where it's the thinnest front office in the NBA. It's just Rob Pelinka. There's no GM. He's both president of basketball operations and GM. That doesn't happen very often. And it's not like the Lakers have enjoyed such overwhelming success that should definitely remain the case forever. But that appears to be the case. And the other part of this too is that, like, coaches know if Rob Pelinka puts together a bad roster, Jeannie Buss is going to hold the coach accountable for not making that bad roster work. Rob is never going to face any accountability from Jeannie Buss. And that's another thing that coaches are concerned about in when they talk to you about, potentially, taking that job or whatever, or why why that reputation is in the dirt. Those are all concerns that coaches have about the Lakers. And like, I've said this a lot on the show, but like, to me, there are two versions of Lakers exceptionalism. There's a productive one and there's a counterproductive one. The productive version of Lakers exceptionalism is that everybody who works for the Lakers, plays for the Lakers, cuts film for the Lakers, serves popcorn for the Lakers, is expected to be exceptional because they are doing this for the Lakers. That the Lakers hold everybody to an exceptional standard and are exceptional because of everybody living up to that standard. The counterproductive version of Lakers exceptionalism is thinking that everybody who works for the Lakers is inherently exceptional because they work for the Lakers. And you don't necessarily have to earn that exceptionalism. And that is essentially the crux of the conversations that I've had over the course of today, that the Lakers see it as some grand honor getting to coach the Lakers, getting to work for the Lakers, all of those things, when in reality, it's just another job. It's another job that has less security than your average NBA job. And until the Lakers actually get back to holding people to the standard of exceptional, you're going to keep on seeing the tires spin in the mud. And like, yeah, occasionally, because it is the Lakers, because the Lakers have been exceptional in the past, and because of the things that those achievements, like, the Lakers have the biggest fan base in the world, like, period. My every stop that I've been at where I've hosted a Lakers show, that show is always the biggest show in that network because Lakers fans show out for their team, period. I'd like to say it's because I'm some kind of special. It's not. I'm not gonna pat myself on the back to that extent either. Like, I know that Lakers fans get behind the people who they feel like earn their respect. And I don't think that, like, in recent years, under Jeannie Buss's stewardship, Rob Pelinka, Linda Rambis, Kurt Rambis, like, that whole group of people have done what it's taken to earn that respect from Lakers fans. And they need to get back to holding themselves to that exceptional standard. It's like, the other thing too is that standard is just the status quo. That's the MO for everybody else now. Like, everybody else, what it takes to be competitive in the NBA now is significantly higher than it was back when the Lakers were holding themselves to exceptional standards. Everybody else is caught up to that standard or past, frankly, that standard in terms of what organizations are doing or are willing to do to gain whatever advantage that they could possibly gain. And the Lakers just keep on operating like the mom and pop shop, and until, again, those things change, like, the question is there on the right side of your screen. Are the Lakers screwed? They are, so long as they continue approaching these things feeling as if they are inherently exceptional because they are Lakers. Yeah, I do think they're screwed. I wish I felt a different way, but what else? What's the other take here? I see a lot of people have a lot of comments here. So one, I really appreciate that. Please do, by the way, excuse me. I am dying on the air. But please do hit that subscribe button. I promise my voice at some point is going to get better. I just ordered steroids to fix this lung situation in here as I recover from whatever it is my children keep on giving me. But please do hit that subscribe button. Please do share the show. Please do tell your friends that you love it. Tell your enemies that you hate it. all of those good things. But yeah, let's talk about, I already went over what happened. Let's talk about now what, where do they go from here? And I'm told that this is almost a full reset, that the Lakers are basically going to bring people back for more interviews. The candidate list is going to get longer. I saw Mark Stein talking about Jay Wright. Honestly, here's the thing. There are very few things I wouldn't believe about where things stand with the Lakers, where they go from here. A lot of people are going to throw out a lot of names because, like, for everybody, like, so long as the Lakers job is open, a lot of people can improve their current situations just by way of having that Lakers gig open. So you're gonna have that going on, and then, like, from a reporting standpoint, you're gonna keep throwing stuff out there, and you're gonna, like, every time you hear a name, you may as well throw it out there because, as evidenced by Dan Hurley himself, you never know when some mystery candidate is just gonna, like, shoot right through the ranks and get a real opportunity. So, you know, in terms of, like, paying attention to this and tracking all of those names and stuff like that, I'm going to do as decent a job as I can to keep you guys posted on all of those things. But as it stands right now, like this is borderline chaos. Like the Lakers, I don't know how seriously Dan Hurley took the Lakers, but I do think that the Lakers took Dan Hurley extremely seriously and had real confidence that they could maybe get the guy, and now are really forced to scramble and go out and hire somebody who makes people forget about all of this nonsense, which might be impossible, by the way. Like, this is pretty damn hard to not remember. It's insane that Rob Pelinka basically, like, that Ty Lue saga where Ty Lue gets the Lakers cake. Everybody thinks he's going to be the Lakers head coach. The Lakers lowball him, try to force Jason Kidd on him. He says, nah, I'm good. Leaves to go coach the Clippers. You wind up hiring not your plan B, not your plan C even, but your plan D in Frank Vogel. And then you almost hold it against him that, like, he won a championship for you, and made it so you couldn't hire Jason Kidd. And now, like, you haven't learned anything. And this fiasco is somehow more embarrassing than the Ty Lue thing. It's insane. And Rob has both of those things now on his resume. Doesn't matter. I haven't heard anything about his seat getting any warmer. Just doesn't matter. Which is just insane. It's just insane. And frankly, very exemplary of what ails the Lakers right now. That you can have two examples of just outright ineptitude. Doesn't matter. He's good. We trust him. Mama mentality. It's crazy. It's insane to me. But now what? Like, now what? The question that I'm sure you all have. It's basically a full refresh, a full reset, and we'll see where the Lakers go in terms of, like, the candidate list and all of that. Like, honestly, it seems like they took today to kind of lick their wounds and get back to the drawing board and find a new list of names and all of that. And I would imagine it's going to be very active in the coming days because they need this. They want this shit. The Lakers wanted this done last weekend. Like, part of the reason I said it on the show the other day, the reason I didn't think Dan Hurley was coming to the Lakers was because the Lakers, I was told, wanted it done by Sunday. And when Dan Hurley went back to the East Coast and there was no agreement by the end of the weekend, that indicated to me, I don't think this is going to go the way that the Lakers want it to go. And here we are. So I just, I have legitimately been, like, shaking my head all day. Part of it is that, like, I've been talking with people all day on the phone and in text and stuff like that. So that leads to shaking your head. But even when I'm not having conversations with people, I had found myself, took the family to dinner tonight, and I was like sitting there eating my salad or whatever, and I'm just like, unbelievable. And Jen's like, what? I'm like, the Lakers. Unbelievable. And she's like, you have a sickness. And I said, actually, yes, I do. I can't stop coughing. But also, yeah, the Lakers are a sickness. All right. I'm going to go ahead and dive on into your guys' super comments. And let's see. I'm going to start with the super comments. And then as I do that, scroll through the regular comments. Which means we have a bunch of them, so that means I get to play this bad boy. Oh man, that felt good. All right, Justin Tyndall kicks us off with Jeannie/Rob stink as an owner GM combo, but they are the elite of the elite when it comes to awkward head coach introductory press conferences. They wanted to build a culture, but Jeannie didn't want to pay for it. Hard to put it any better than that, frankly. Like, because we aren't going to hear from Rob until, this next head coach. I didn't get any word today that Rob is preparing any kind of a press conference to address everything. I didn't get any word on that front. So whoever they hire, they're going to have to sit there while Rob answers questions about Dan Hurley, while Rob answers questions about JJ Redick, while Rob answers questions about Darvin Ham, while Rob answers questions about Rob, because he should face some questions about the job that he is doing, and whether he is still fit to continue to do it, and why Lakers fans should have any confidence that he is the guy to continue to steward the ship. That head coaching intro presser. And again, when I talk about like the Lakers job not being as great as they would like to think of it, part of the reason that the job isn't particularly good is because there is just very little data that points to the Lakers actually valuing head coaching. And there's just very little there are very few examples of the Lakers putting coaches in the best place to succeed, starting with all of their intro press conferences, all of them. Like all of Frank Vogel had to answer questions about Tyronn Lue, or not. He didn't have to answer questions about Ty Lue, but he had to sit there and listen while Rob answered questions about Ty Lue and about Luke Walton and about Magic Johnson. And then Darvin Ham had to sit there while Rob answered questions about Frank Vogel. And then now whoever they hire after Darvin Ham is going to have to sit there and listen to Rob answer all of those questions too. It's the same effing movie over and over and over again. Like, I'm obviously a parent. And the number one thing that pisses me off, or the thing that like my children will do that get a rise out of me, is if they make the same mistake over and over and over again, because that indicates to me I'm doing a poor job of telling them that thing is a mistake, right? There are things that they're going to learn on their own. Like, you climb stuff and you fall down stuff often enough, you're going to learn, like, gravity is teaching you, oh yeah, probably shouldn't do that. But like with the stuff that, would prevent them falling off of stuff or would prevent them from getting hurt, if they keep doing those things, even after I warn them in various ways not to do those things, that's a reflection on me. That's a reflection that I am doing a poor job of communicating, hey, maybe don't climb up the side of the couch. There's a perfectly fine, softer way that you could take to get onto the couch. And this is the part where like Jeannie has to face a lot of this noise. Because Rob making the same mistake now over and over and over again, that has to be a reflection on Jeannie Buss never holding him accountable. Because the way that you learn and the way that you avoid the same mistake over and over and over again is by facing actual accountability. But if it doesn't exist, you're going to keep making the same damn mistake over and 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 over again. All right, let's go to the next question here that comes from Jason Kelly, who writes, love the Lakers, hate Rob and Jeannie, hate, I guess, I love the Lakers, hate that Rob and Jeannie control the end of LeBron's career. If I'm JJ, I ain't taking a dime less than 70 mil. Nice to see crap on Rob's face. The thing is, he's Teflon. You could hurl a bunch of crap at his face, but it's just going to like glance off. He's not touchable. But the LeBron thing, I know a lot of people are wondering about. I myself, today is the first day. I said this on BetMGM. I tweeted it. Today is the first time this summer that I have thought to myself, wow, they may have fumbled the bag with LeBron. He might, like, I wouldn't hold it. Dude, I wouldn't stay if I were LeBron. Would you? Honestly, like, be honest, Lakers fans. If you were LeBron James, would you stay and continue to deal with that? Like, obviously, he really likes being in LA. He likes being close to his family. He likes being able to work on his off-court projects in a way that he can while he operates in LA and all of those things. But also, if winning is the priority, like, the best he can hope for from the Lakers, like all that we have been asking for from the Lakers while LeBron has been there, is please just give him like a somewhat viable chance at competing in the playoffs. And the Lakers on a couple occasions haven't even reached that bar. And now in this occasion again, haven't reached that bar with this position. And by the way, in pursuing Hurley like this, they may have screwed themselves out of going out and hiring the guy that would have appeased LeBron. Anywho, with LeBron, I'm still told that the Lakers remain confident that he would like to retire as a Laker. And I would still be pretty surprised, not shocked, but pretty surprised if LeBron isn't a Laker next season. But look, man, like today is the first time, if LeBron were to leave, this is the first time I think that Lakers fans would be like, yeah, I get it. And that, you know how far things have to fall for that to be the case? For LeBron to peace out and be like, and have like Lakers fans be like, yeah. Next question here comes from Matthew. This is a massive failure. If you go after a guy like Hurley, you have to close the deal. 100% agreed. Does anyone really think he would turn down $100 million? No. I had been told, and I apologize, guys, for my voice. I really, really do. But I'm told that had the offer been there, like, that probably gets it across the finish line. That essentially, that, like, when he leaked or when John Fanta reported that was kind of the offer that was potentially on the table, that was essentially Dan's, because look, I think Fanta has done a great job on reporting on all of the stuff. I'm going to be honest, I hadn't heard of him to this point. I don't watch college basketball. I don't pay attention to college basketball. But his ties, are in college basketball. He's a college basketball reporter. So when I saw that he was the one with the $100 million offer potentially, I knew it wasn't coming from the Lakers. So I asked the Lakers, my people who know stuff with the Lakers, how close is that? And I was told that the Lakers would potentially be willing to get to that point. Obviously, they would probably prefer that it would be a little bit lower than that. And so, like, finding out that that was the offer today was pretty surprising. So, yeah, I if you're gonna if you're gonna make it so like such pervasive public knowledge that you're trying for this guy, and you're doing so in a way that pisses off somebody who at various points was plan A, you have to make the offer that this guy accepts. Like, you have to. You can't screw that up. And the Lakers did. And now it's kind of back at square one. Let's see. Justin Tyndall writes, Jeannie and Rob have wasted the LeBron and AD era. If Bron plays 2 more years, AD will be 33. Then what? Back to pre-Bron years. I mean, that's the thing. Whenever Lakers fans say, like, oh, whatever, screw LeBron, he's too much drama, sick of LeBron. I don't know why I make him from New York. I'm done with LeBron. I'm like, okay, LeBron leaves, then what? Do you guys remember what the Lakers were like before LeBron? And by the way, if LeBron leaves right now, and if he leaves as a result of them fumbling this and the JJ Redick bag, and he leaves on like anything other than great terms, that's going to have a ripple effects across the next generation of superstars that the Lakers would be hoping to rebuild with. The whole reason they had an opportunity with LeBron is because Kobe went out on the best terms imaginable. So, like, if you mess this up now, maybe 86 around, the Lakers figure some things out for the tail end of the AD era, and maybe their relationship with Clutch isn't so far gone or whatever. But like, LeBron is the best player of his generation. All the stars that the Lakers are going to be hoping to bring in are all going to look, they all currently look up to LeBron. And if LeBron leaves and, and people ask him, hey man, like, that all of these stars talk. And if LeBron leaves and like name your star X asks LeBron, how do you feel about it? Like, what do you think he's going to say? It can't have been that positive an experience. Basically, like, yeah, they went out and got Russell Westbrook, to a certain extent on your behalf, right? But also Rob was in on those talks, was interested in Russell Westbrook. And yet after that didn't work out, Rob spent every waking moment making it known to anybody who will listen that was all LeBron. That Russell Westbrook thing that may have slammed the championship window shut. Yeah, that was all that guy. I didn't even like Russell Westbrook. No, like that was, and so, like, that's the funny thing here with AD is he's kind of reluctant to fully vouch for James Borrego because he knows that if he vouches for James Borrego and Borrego isn't very good, that Rob was just going to use Anthony Davis as the next meat shield to avoid accountability for hiring James Borrego. So, like, I just the post-LeBron thing should really scare people, and it's why teams around the league are trying like crazy to get their hands on the post-LeBron first-round picks, because I also think a smart bet is betting against the Lakers without LeBron James in the organization. Jason Kelly, is Bron going to be cool with all this humiliation? That's a different question. The cynic in me thinks that, like, I think LeBron's first, like, an utmost priority is what is best for the Lakers, because what is best for the Lakers is best for LeBron. But also, watching Rob kind of flounder here, I wouldn't be surprised if you injected LeBron with some truth serum. If he was like, yeah, yeah. Like I don't think that he and Rob, like, there's animosity there between the two of them. I don't think that it's anywhere near there. I think they're on decent working terms, but I do occasionally sense some frustration from not just LeBron, but like a lot of people around the Lakers, that like Rob is just seen as untouchable, that he can't make mistakes, that he basically gets to define, like when he has yearly reviews, we all have yearly reviews with our jobs, right? His yearly review, he gets to write it, and then Jeannie just signs it. And I think that there's some frustration there, with various parties around the Lakers, that like this guy just is incapable of being held to account no matter what he oversees. And I think with this one, I don't think that LeBron is like thrilled that the Lakers are in the spot, and that the Lakers have reached this point while he has been there. But I also do think that he's a human being, and there might be a little bit of Schadenfreude there. I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. The next one here comes from Amer. How many times will we as Lakers fans see article about a coach or player where the Lakers are at the 1 yard line to sign them, then fall through? Kyrie, Kawhi, Murray, Levine, etc. Now Hurley. Yeah, I mean, like, this has become almost a defining characteristic of the Rob Pelinka era, that he hasn't been able to get his guy. Now, he did get Anthony Davis. That did cross the finish line, and that did lead to a championship. We have to be fair here. But Kawhi didn't happen. Paul George didn't happen. The one that did happen, Russell Westbrook, was a disaster. Ty Lue didn't happen. All of the names that were mentioned here obviously also didn't happen. Kyle Lowry, also back in the day, was another name that comes to mind. So yeah, like it has become, Rob. Now, fortunately, on a couple occasions, Rob has been able to basically land on his feet and figure things out to a productive extent, right? They did win a championship. They did reach a Western Conference final, but like, also, you can't become known for not getting your guy or not executing plan A. And we're reaching a time here where I do think that's become a part of how we define Rob Pelinka's tenure. Next one comes from BG the Kid. Aaron totally thought Hurley was in the bag. I'm not gonna speak for Aaron, but yeah, I'm just not gonna touch that one. I'll let Aaron. Aaron is going to be on this week, and I'll let him speak for Aaron. Like, speaking publicly is difficult enough for myself. I'm not going to speak for Aaron. The next one here comes from Marley Villasenor. If it's between Redick and Borrego, give me JJ all day. Also didn't seem worth it to possibly burn the JJ bridge, and it looks fishy on the Woj and Hurley front. The Lakers look like they got let on. I'm going to be very, very careful on this front because for obvious reasons. But there are certainly enough people out there who are wondering, did Woj and Hurley get one over on the Lakers? Because like, did Woj get one over on Shams? Like, it's funny, when all of this Hurley stuff started, my mentions were just were a tire fire. I was a fraud. I was this, I was that. Jovan, he was this, he was that. Shams, he was this, he was that. And all I said at the time was like, look, I didn't have that information, and This is a developing story. These things do develop quickly. And we don't know that Hurley is eventually even going to get hired. And when you know it, Hurley doesn't wind up getting fired. The thing about this like information industry is that none of us have the full story. It's impossible because there are multiple versions of stories. So all that we can do is provide the best information that we have in front of us that we feel confident enough about to talk to you about, and then see where the story goes as it develops and as it takes its next steps. So I have been told all the way through this process that JJ Redick was the guy. They were just waiting for things to get figured out with ESPN. And then Hurley came back into focus. And there are some people who think that Hurley saw an opportunity and Woj saw an opportunity to help his buddy out get the raise that he actually wanted. And they made good on that opportunity. There's enough people wondering about that, like actual league source type people wondering about that, that I don't think we can ignore that noise. That said, doesn't matter. Like, I still think the Lakers could have really gotten Hurley away from UConn if they made the kind of offer that he leaked he was expecting. They didn't. He goes back to UConn, and now the Lakers walk away from this with a whole bunch of mud on their face. Vinny Judge, your thoughts? I prefer James Borrego over JJ. Who would you go for? Also, AD likes him too. I've been kind of pro JJ this whole time. I think that he makes some sense. I would like to see what it would look like if LeBron and the Lakers were actually to like work together on something like this for a change. These things again can develop. As things stand right now, I don't think it's going to be JJ. But if I had to choose Redick versus Borrego, I think I would go Redick. But also, I think like there are very good points to be made for Borrego too. So whoever you prefer, I honestly I don't hold it against anybody to have a preference either way there. Justin Tyndall again writes, does the offers Rob give off what Jimmy allows him to offer? Isn't that 6 and 70 the most Jeannie was willing to pay? That's a fair question in terms of my criticism of Rob Pelinka. That like he is beholden to what Jeannie is willing to pay. That's fair, but I do think that like for anybody who works in like construction, like right now, my sprinkler system has been a mess basically since we moved into this house because our builder basically tried to skimp in every possible way with that sprinkler system. And the reason that you skimp on that sprinkler system is so that you can go back to your employer and say, hey, we did this job that we thought was going to cost X and Y for this much less than X and Y. Look at that. Look how we got away with it. Problem is, they did it so cheap that they actually wound up having to come back here and on their dime fix a bunch of stuff because what they did wasn't up to code, and I was able to hold them accountable and say like, no, you guys literally didn't put sprinklers in that area of my yard. That was part of the contract, was that all of this yard would be covered by sprinklers. And so they had they wind up they were penny wise dollar dumb because they had to come back and expend that labor to dig up all of the sprinklers that didn't work. They had to resolder, they had to do all those things. And I kind of feel like it's a version of that right now with Rob, where he has a budget of up to this high with his with the potential hire that he could make. And he came in a little bit lower than that budget to appease his boss. And now has to go back and fix the situation because he didn't use that entire budget. That's a version of how this plays out, or may have played out. But I do think it is fair. And look, I think generally speaking, like when you have enough ineptitude with an organization under the leadership of one owner, that owner should get the vast majority of that criticism, right? Like the best example I can think of this is with the Chicago Bulls, where their owner has overseen so much mediocrity, and it's very clear that the guy shoots for mediocrity because it's cheap. And if I were a Bulls fan, I would hate that owner because that owner keeps on shooting for mediocrity. And here with the Lakers, I don't think it's a matter of the Lakers shooting for mediocrity. I do sincerely believe that Jeannie Buss wants the best for the Lakers, wants to win championships, wants to live up to the expectations that come with being her dad's daughter. But, you know, sometimes you just don't have it. Sometimes you just don't understand what it takes, or you have certain blind spots that stop you from being, you know, as good at that thing that you really, really care about as you could be. But yeah, with that, that's a fair rebuttal to my criticism of Rob. I would just say though that like he may not necessarily be using the full budget there, and it might have come back to bite him. Lane R writes, so the odds of taking Bronny at number 17 are closer to 80% now, right? LeBron is the king of leaving at the perfect time before the ship sinks. Taking Bronny is the only move. I don't think they would take him at 17. I really hope that they don't take him at 17. That he's just, nobody is mocking him in that range where like he is right now seen as like a late first maybe prospect, more likely mid-second round type prospect. And if the Lakers were to use one of their very few assets on Bronny James, that again would be more indicative of bigger problems than anything. Because then you're putting appeasing LeBron above what is actually best for the organization, and nobody benefits there. It's going to be temporary. Nobody benefits. It's just going to come back to bite you sooner rather than later. Lane R also writes, are the Lakers currently the biggest shit show in sports? Every day that ticks by without hiring a coach when the draft is 2 weeks away is a disaster. The biggest shit show in sports? I mean, the Angels still exist. The Jets are always going to exist. But like the fact that I'm talking about those teams right now in this conversation is probably bigger than whether or not the Lakers are bigger shit shows than those teams. So things aren't good, and things really need to be fixed. This is the come to Jesus moment that I'm hoping the Lakers really look themselves in the mirror from, but that requires accountability, and there just doesn't appear to be the kind of accountability necessary to actually learn from any of this. All right, you guys have heard my voice throughout the entirety of this show, so I'm going to go ahead and call it quits here. Perfect timing. As usual this time of year, if we get any kind of breaking news, I will go live. Apologies for not going live earlier today. I wanted to get as much information so that when I did talk to you guys, I had it at my disposal. Look for a piece coming from Lakers Daily on this entire situation. That is coming soon. And until then, we have a fun show lined up for you tomorrow when I and Trevor Lane of Lakers Nation are going to get together. So please hit that subscribe button. Please hit that like button. Comment, share the show. Tell your friends that you love it. Tell your enemies that you hate it. And until the next time you guys hear from me, I'm Anthony Irwin saying have a great rest of your day. Make somebody else's. And I'll talk to you tomorrow.